Today I'll be taking a closer look at the Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert, an earth-centered, soulful tarot deck that weaves together nature, community and spirit. I'll be comparing all three versions of the deck, looking at the differences in packaging, the companion book and the cards themselves. Plus there'll be a full walkthrough of the brand new edition recently released by Red Feather. As a Gaianist, this deck holds a very special place in my heart. It beautifully reflects my spiritual beliefs and practice, honouring the sacredness of the earth and the interconnectedness of all life. It's gentle, inclusive, and deeply rooted in the rhythms of nature, everything I look for in a tarot. Let's dive in and explore the magic of the Gaian Tarot. Now, me ducks, if things look different, as in my setup, that's because I'm in a different location. I have an L-shaped desk, if you remember my video I did a couple of weeks ago where I showed my reading space, my desk space, and one leg of the desk is quite narrow, and then it gets to the big wide desk, which is where I do my spreads. It's kind of at the side of me when you see me facing this way on the lives. And I've had to create space because I thought we could have a look at the Gaian Tarot, the new edition. I'm obsessed with this deck. The new edition has arrived today. It's still sealed. It's by Red Feather. They've sent it me for review, which I will do. But I also thought it would be good to combine the walkthrough with the all three iterations of this deck, because you'll notice on the new one it says second edition, and that's not incorrect. Is that a double negative? Not incorrect. It is the second edition of the Gaian Tarot release by Red Feather, or Schiffer as it was. I mean, Red Feather is an arm of Schiffer. So it's by the same company, and it's the second edition of this version. But before Schiffer released the Gaian Tarot, it was originally released by Llewellyn. And I've only come into having a copy of this over the last couple of years. The first one was sent to me by the lovely Ellie. Thank you, Ellie, if you're watching. And then I was sent a backup copy by the lovely Jo, of which I keep a set out at all times because it's a deck that I use constantly. I absolutely love it. That one and the Greenwood are always out on this reading space, and I'll use them for daily draws, weekly cards, that sort of thing. But firstly, we'll look at the packaging, then we'll look at the book, and then we'll look at the cards. So if we start with the Llewellyn Tarot, so this version is in Llewellyn's old style tuck box. This was released in 2011, so 14 years ago. And if you've collected tarot for a while, you'll recall these kind of I'll leave the book out because we'll be looking at the books. These little bits, so you'd have a book one side and then the cards fit in here. They move around. They're not ideal. I never liked this kind of setup with Llewellyn, to be honest. And as you can see from this version, the boxes get pretty dinged up. They're not sturdy at all when you compare them to the kind of boxes that we get today, which are a lot sturdier. Beautifully designed, you know, it is lovely, but what it lacks in sort of production quality of the box, it makes up for in the cards, and we'll come on to that. Let me just move this so we know what we're looking at. So this was released, picked up after Schiffer had it, after Llewellyn had it. It was picked up by Schiffer in 2016, so 5 years after its release under Llewellyn. I did hear that it was originally self-produced in 2010, just the year before. I don't know if that's true, or if there's anybody out there that knows of that and had an independent version. And to be honest, I can understand now why Schiffer Red Feather have re-released it, because there was a lot of criticism about the cards in particular. This comes in a much sturdier box though, a nice sturdy glossy box, beautifully with these ribbons to protect it. The book, which I'll put with the other book. And then the downside is when the deck is split into two like this. They were edged in a silver, but what people didn't like was the double border that you can see here. The cards are huge. If you're looking at a standard tarot size, a standard deck is dwarfed by these cards. They're oracle sized really. They're much taller and much wider, and a lot of people said that it was quite difficult to shuffle, but they mainly objected to going from the original to this kind of, it's almost like a when I was growing up, you had these little flaps that you put your Polaroid or your photographs in into a photo album. Anyway, we're not talking about the cards just yet. But what I did want to mention is see, I've got so many books now. I modified mine because I couldn't live with the double border, but I'll tell you about a pitfall around that as well in a moment. And so now, 2025, we have the second edition. So it does get confusing because really it's the third, but second edition from Schiffer Red Feather. And I believe that it has a green border, but just one border. Now, this whole set is a lot bigger than I was expecting. It's hard to gauge from photographs, isn't it? But it looked like it was quite a small, compact box, so I was expecting something about this big. But when it arrived and the weight of it, I thought, wow, that's pretty decent. So now we've got the clamshell opening with that candle. We don't want no accidents, which I really like. This is lovely. And you know, the Gaian tarot is an earth-centric deck, and I love the fact that we've got this kind of forest green. It does feel very, very earthy. It's got some spot gloss on it to make the images and things pop. This font is beautiful. It's raised up in gold. Discover the wonders of Gaia and welcome her insight, healing and inspiration into your spiritual practice. So lovely clamshell box with a magnetic closure. The book, wow, that is quite a book. It's quite a nice size. So I'm going to take out the cards ready for our comparison. But let's have a look at the books. Now, all 3 books, I will say, well, I can't speak about the second, but it looks great. The first 2, I tend to still use this one, in fact, as a bookmark in there. This is the original Journey Through Gaian Tarot, which came with the Llewellyn edition. And I mean, the pages are getting just discoloured now because it's 14 years old. It's had a lot of use. But there's no images or anything. It is a textbook. But you get quite a lot of information in here. So a tour there. You get a description, which is lovely. A woman stands by a hawthorn tree in bloom, etc. And then when you get the card in a reading, when you read the shadow side of the card, an affirmation. So quite a bit of information there, and you get a lot more as well when you're working with the major arcana. So the builder is the Emperor, structure, boundaries, foundations, and again, quite a bit of information here, and deepen your understanding of the builder. So some themes like leadership, stability, authority, etc. Journal questions. So yeah, so that's quite nice. And then on the Schiffer version, which came out in 2016, it has gone colour. And again, it's laid out quite nice. You'll see at the top the colour does change from the different suits. So the wheel of fortune, cycles and seasons, you get your write-up. And again, when you get this card in a reading, when you read the shadow side of the card, and then deepening your understanding of the wheel. So you get the themes and symbols. So the information is still there, as is when you get to the minors as well. It's just back to that information. The image is in colour, thumbnail, and then the affirmation at the bottom. So that's nice. So let's have a look at the new book. So, that's a nice picture of Joanna Powell Colbert, who's the creator of the Gaian Tarot. Again, you get pretty similar, I think. Let's go to the wheel so we can have a look. Cycles and seasons, you get your write-up when you get this card in a reading, the shadow side of the card, deepen your understanding, and symbols. Oh, and then you get lunar phases, zodiac. So you're getting journal questions. Let's have a look. I don't want to tell you incorrectly, but maybe I didn't turn the page over. Okay, wheel. Yes, on the back you get journal questions. What is changing in my life? What is changing in my life? And then you've got remember instead of what we had for affirmations. The affirmation was, in centering myself, I am blessed by the turning of the wheel. Now you get remember, center yourself at the point of the turning wheel. So yeah, little bit different, but the more or less it's following the same information. I like it. I mean, they're laid out beautifully, and these are really, really good books. For me, a good companion book with a tarot deck is one that gives you a lot of information, not just generic tarot information. And I particularly like it when they describe what's happening in the scene of the cards, but also having things to think about, like the symbols. So for here, we've got the sun, we've got sunflowers, we've got the red dress, we've got the stone wall in the background, the yellow flowers, the green grass, and the it's at noon. So it breaks down the symbols within the card and gives you the information for that as well. So that's really, really useful. I think this might be my favourite version of the books. I like the size of it. It feels really nice. Again, it's got the spot gloss in, it's got the raised text. Really, really lovely. I love that it's paying homage to its predecessors as well, even though the covers have changed on all 3. So in order, that's the 3 the 3 books. All right, so let's move on to the cards, and I'll adjust the camera and we'll get close-up looks. Okay, so that took a while because obviously this deck wasn't in order. It's pretty stuck together as well, but I've been able to separate all the cards without incident. So what I want to say first is, even though this is the first ever edition, which was produced by Llewellyn, this is the first edition that I got, which would be around 2017, 2018. And as I said, I struggled with the borders. So I did modify mine by taking off both the blue border and the white border. However, a couple of pitfalls, because I think I've just looked, this is still available to get, but it'll be while stocks last because this is the new version. You will see that the image of the artwork actually goes into the border on almost every single card, like here. So of course you lose some of the image. This made it a general tarot size for me, so I was happy with that, and I used this deck until I got the Llewellyn version as my main deck to work with. The second pitfall was, and I think it was the 2 of, was it the 2 of water? No, 2 of water was fine. There is one card that wasn't aligned the same as all the others. So of course I've aligned everything in my guillotine, but when it comes to this one, Gaia the World, you can see that the image, because these are all perfectly the same size, the image wasn't. So the only way I could do it was to measure a card. Look, I'm losing on bindweed, you're losing quite a bit of the birds. If we look at bindweed in this one, you will see the difference. I mean, I kept the feet, obviously, because that's in the title. This is the devil card, by the way, but I've lost some of the birds. But I thought, well, that's okay, I can live with that. But then, me being how I am, I was a little bit put off by the Gaia card because, yeah, it just looked a bit weird. But anyway, and I love the one of the chalice well, I love the 4 of water. So this has been the one that I was using. I edged it in multiple colours as well. It's pretty banged up because it's had a lot of use. And then, as I mentioned, I was able to then get this version, which is the Llewellyn version. Really, really nice cardstock. It's not too thick, very durable, and it just has a white border. They do need a border because, you know, like I said, the images go into the border. And there's something quite nice like that. It's like it's almost coming out of the frame. And I've got 2 copies of this now. This has no gilding, whereas the first edition of the Schiffer has this beautiful silver. Of course, I lost that when I trimmed it off. And now the third version has a metallic gold. The backs. So original back, second or first edition Schiffer, but second iteration of the deck. Same design, but again, this kind of double border thing happening. And then we have a completely new back now, which actually I really like because this is the Gaian tarot. Gaia is Mother Earth, you know, and to have the earth on the back and this beautiful butterfly, you've still got the kind of laurel here in the same design, and then you get these almost like you're looking from above down at a forest. You're seeing the tops of trees. It's really, really lovely. So I do like the second edition of the Schiffer Red Feather version. In terms of card size, this one is huge. You can see the difference here. And then we have this one too, which I think is somewhere in between. Well, it's a little bit taller, but shorter than the second version, but probably the same width. So that's the card size. Card stock, this is matte, the first version. It's got like a silky finish to it. This was gloss, a gloss version, and this one is gone back to matte, but it is sturdier than the Llewellyn version. It's quite a nice, decent feel to the card. The borders are probably about the same thickness as the original. The only difference is you get more space at the bottom for the title. The font has changed as well. We've got a typed, the same fancy on the Llewellyn, a little bit larger here, and then we've got a fancier script kind of font, almost cursive for this one, and a little bit bigger panel at the bottom, but the borders around the size are around the same. I think the image is exactly the same. It's a little bit richer in colour. If you could see from her blue outfit, it's more saturated, there's a more density of colour, and the hair is quite noticeable as well, so I like that. And then there's something else I was just going to mention too. Yeah, the thickness. So these two that are by Schiffer Red Feather, exactly the same thickness, card on card, exactly the same thickness. This one, because it's a thinner cardstock from Llewellyn, there's a good chunk difference. Put another card down to line that up. So we're talking the whole of the major arcana. Perhaps if I put down Ace of Water, do they line up more or less? Yeah, so that's the thickness difference. Okay, so that's that for the comparisons. I think this will be the one that I will continue to use. I've got 2 copies of it, so why would I not? And you know, it's very easy to shuffle. It's nice cardstock. But this I'm liking. This one, I will keep it. I've never used this. This was just a backup copy, particularly because I felt like I'd butchered my modification version. But actually, when I look at it now, I think, well, actually, I did quite a nice job with this deck. So I shouldn't be too hard on myself. So let's pop them back. All right, so if this is your first time seeing the Gaian tarot, because people are coming into the community all the time and not always aware of every deck out there, everybody starts somewhere, then this is available now. I think it's been out for about a month in the US and some other countries, but it's just arrived on UK shores. Schiffer sent it straight over to me, and I saw yesterday that Cheryl over at Oneness Emporium has this deck as well. So if you're in the UK, I'll put a link in the description to that shop so that you can pick it up. But it's a beloved deck of mine, as I mentioned. Joanna Powell Colbert is the creator of this deck, and I find working with this deck over the years that it is so soulful. It really does speak to your soul. I could see why my friend Diane said this was her soul deck. It's just very emotive. As you can see, I mean, it's called the Gaian Tarot for obvious reasons, but it's because it is so earth-centered. And instead of having wands swords, cups, pentacles, you have the elements there. So it really does pay homage to Gaia. We have the builder instead of the emperor. So some titles for the archetypes have been changed to fit the theme of the deck. I think that the teacher is one of my favourite cards. Let me just look how beautiful that is. Those of us who have struggled with patriarchy and religion, and patriarchy within religion in particular, find the Hierophant card quite challenging, quite problematic. But you know, the idea is the high priest is somebody that you would go to for guidance, spiritual guidance, support, direction, comfort if needed. And I get that from this image. The teacher, those that's imparting nature's secrets, Gaia's secrets. And I love this little wolf in the background peeping round. But I feel that this deck really does blend the tradition of tarot with modern ecological and Gaian spirituality really, really well. It's a very gentle yet powerful tool as well that really celebrates the natural world. I mean, look at that, look at the Hermit. I like this version more than I thought. I mean, I was pleased when they said there was a green border. I thought that would really fit the theme of an earth-centric deck. And then from one of the images I saw, I thought, oh, the border looks quite thick again, but I think it was just because looking at the bottom. But actually, they've done a fantastic job. I love the gold line here, the inner border. It's really, really nice. Here's the Justice card, and look how beautiful that card is. We get the cycles of life, of nature. Look how she's got this cloud within her, the autumnal leaves. Yeah. And the creator, Joanna, she is an artist, a writer, I believe from memory, she's a teacher. But that really comes across. I think it's brilliant when we get a creator that creates the images but also writes the book, because no one can express into words quite so well and aligned as somebody who's created the images to be able to convey that on paper. But not only being an artist, writer and teacher, you can tell that she has a deep reverence for nature, and her love of Gaia, of Earth, is really evident in every single card image. It's quite contemporary, as you can see as well. It's very inclusive. Wonderful nature-based. We go into our, now these will be in groupings of the aces, the twos, just for the walkthrough. So we've got our aces. Look at the little ace of fire. A little baby gecko from the fire suit. We have a salmon for the water. Look how gorgeous. The earth. Then we go into our twos. That's a beautiful, beautiful image, isn't it? The turtle on his back there. So yeah, as you can see, it is quite modern, quite contemporary, but I like that. As I said, it's respectful of cultures, because And if you're going to do an earth-centric tarot and Gaia and everything within Gaia, then it would make sense to make sure that there's representation of all walks of life that inhabit Gaia. Gaia, the living being. There's the chalice well. I must take this deck with me when I go this year and get a picture. I can remember the lovely Sinead when she came and met with us in Glastonbury. She took a picture of this card by the chalice well. And I thought, what a cool idea. I've always meant to do it, but never have. I think this is a beautiful image. Look at that. So the art is done in coloured pencil. It does have digital techniques applied. No, it's not AI. This predates that by 15 years. Well, probably about 10. But yeah, it's beautiful. You can see that this is an artist's work in its entirety. I love the fact as well that it kind of reframes traditional archetypes of the tarot by using images of just ordinary everyday people or animals, plants, the seasons, etc. You know, that's what I mean about it being so contemporary. It's relevant for today. And the images are very vivid, very warm. I love that, look. And each card tells a story. Whether it's, you know, within caves or within forests or beautiful meadows. And everything is in harmony with nature, whether it's people, animals, birds, forests. This is the cycle, isn't it? Sadly, we're seeing more of this, but that's not due to necessarily nature. It's our effect on nature. I could step into that and walk that path through the woods. Sorry about the sirens. I've had to have the windows open because it is so hot. So I forgot to mention the courts. For the pages we have the child. So you see the child, young, inquisitive, exploring, connecting with the earth, with Gaia. And then the explorer, so as the child gets a little bit older and begins to venture out. Oh, that's such a pain, that siren. It's all part of living in the city. I long to live by the water or in the forest, but yeah. And then from the explorer we get the guardians. And I love that for the Queen, the guardian of each element. Two together there. And then finally we get the elder. The elder. I love that image. And I love that, you know, genders are mixed. Elders are female as well as males, you know, the knights aren't necessarily males, the child, there's a mix of gender for each one. I love the Elder of Water. I just love that card. Look. And the Elder of Earth. Wow, I'm impressed. I think this is a wonderful version. I am so pleased that it's been re-released from this version that we had, this huge version that we had. You still get the same image, but as you can see, it's taken off a lot of the unnecessary. So yeah, I know a lot of people were put off by this, so if you like the artwork, there is now a new version out there from Red Feather, and it's wonderful. I think I'll always have a fondness for the original, but the cardstock is a little more sturdier than this. But yeah, you know, I don't have to choose. I've got all versions. I like the gilding as well. It's a nice addition. So excellent job, really impressed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you have any of the originals, whether it's the Llewellyn or the Schiffer version? And if so, do you think you will get the Red Feather? Or is this your first time discovering the Gaian Tarot? And I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste, and blessed be.